Brownlow medal.
The Norm Smith medal.
Brownlow medal
Is Jimmy Bartel.
Matthew Lloyd.
The Adelaide Crows and Carlton kick off gather round, Jimmy, and I'm looking forward to this game as much as any. And I think even though Carlton are second on the ladder, there's pressure on them. I'm concerned about their ball movement. So against North last week, they kicked 5 goals in the first half, Jim. And it was ball movement like this, which I reckon good sides will squeeze them and they'll struggle to score.
Yeah, a big issue for a lot of clubs. You get too many people queued up behind the footy, creates an issue. But Lloydie, what would you like to see them do different next time?
Well, we saw this in round 1 against Richmond, where they were really safe with the footy and they copped a lot of criticism. They've improved it since then, but I just think they've got to take the ball forward. So they've taken a mark here. Okay, got to keep finding ways to hit up a short and go forward. But if you want to go back and retreat like this, even the Adelaide Crows on Thursday night, tomorrow night, might even make them pay. I want to show some of the pressure of the Adelaide Crows, Jim. And if you want to do that, I think that they're just ready and right for the picking to maybe take care of Carlton.
Yeah, they've just got relentless pressure. They keep coming forward, and especially inside your forward 50. Coaches love inside forward 50 tackles because you get those front half turnovers and your back line gets a real chance to set up behind the footy.
And I just say Sam Walsh back as well, so cannot wait to see what he'll do for that ball movement. So this pressure is unrelenting. And just on that, they've got their balance right, the Adelaide Crows. So while the pressure's sensational, it's leading to scores, Jim. And if you want to look at their evolution under Matty Nix, it's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Well, we touched on it here. They've built up the game really well under Matthew Nix, as you said, and they take care of the contest first. Whenever you play the Crows, they're tough and they're physical. And the next layer you add on top of that is your ability to score and move that physical pressure that you highlighted further up the ground. So you get scores off turnover. You look at the end of the year, all the grand final sides, top 4 sides, really high scores on turnover. And look at this, massive jump straight up. That makes you a final side in the future. And you need talent in the forward half though, Lloydie. And I focused in on one player, Isaac Rankin, the boom recruit, obviously from the Gold Coast. I just circled a couple of players here. Here's Walker down here for Freo, and here's Isaac Rankin. He's averaging 9 score involvements. He's had 20 shots on goal. So he's 5th in the competition in score involvements. Walker's doing the right thing. So you need your team to really help out. But you've got to make your decision quick. He's going over to help here Alex Pearce and his Freo teammates, but he hasn't affected the contest. We stop here. You're already off Isaac Rankin, who has an unbelievable ability to find space inside forward 50. 4 marks inside forward 50. As I mentioned, 20 shots on goal. He needs to keep one eye on Rankin, but also rely on his teammates. We have a look up the very top here. Here's Rankin and Walker. Walker has actually tried to commit over and help out, but he hasn't affected the contest. And you need your teammates rolling around immediately. The gap's too big. And again, we see Rankin, who finds space inside forward 50. I'm looking forward. And the matchup for me will have to be Sard, who's a fantastic player. And he'll get in situations like here up near you, Lloydie. He's got amazing ability to just find 1 or 2 metres. He's on a fantastic defender here in Ryan, down back. Just a little push-off, come back at a kicker. That's all he needs to get a shot on goal. As I mentioned, he and Sard's a fantastic rebounder for Carlton. He'll need to rely on his teammates so he can go and attack, but he'll have to be one-on-one at different stages with Rankin in the back 50.
Great vision. He may well be the biggest loss the Gold Coast Suns have ever had. I think he may well be an All-Australian by the end of this year. Isaac Rankin. The second game, Sydney v Richmond. This will be a ripper as well. Chad Warner, Dustin Martin, superstars absolutely everywhere. But you've noticed something that maybe you haven't liked so much about the Swans.
Well, we touch on it with Carlton. They're very good behind the ball. They're very safe. We see a fantastic turnover here from Tom McCartan. But this is a habit they can get into. They can get too many players behind the kicker. If you drew a line across where McCartan had the ball, all these players are coming behind the kicker. We know Dan Rampy likes to be the anchor defender, Lloyd coming back, and then you've got Blakey in the back line. What ends up happening is, here, you end up playing 14 v 18 in front of you, and Melbourne absolutely torched Sydney early in the game, doing that scores off turnover. Again, a slow one here. The first reaction for Lloyd is to come behind the footy. You've already got one here in McCartan. Looking up, you're outnumbered down the line. Port Adelaide shift across. This is great work from Port Adelaide staying connected. But you're playing the game already in an outnumber in front of you. Eventually the ball gets turned over. Perfect for Port Adelaide. Front half turnovers, which we keep harping on.
So you're saying take the game forward more.
Don't get caught behind there. I think we've got one here where they're actually doing it really well, the Sydney Swans. It's actually back here. Lloyd receives the ball, takes the game on. Now just you keep watching the game being played on. Stevens comes back. You will see here, Lloyd, his work rate, get up into the game. Look at that, that's on a slow possession. But even when Lloyd takes it long, you're very well set up and it's in your half. You're not sitting back, living in your back 50.
Who do you like in this one?
Oh, look, both a lot of injuries and a lot of players out. Sydney by a kick.
I didn't get your Adelaide v Carlton tip. Who do you like that one?
I like the Blues. I like the Blues a lot this year.
Adelaide and Sydney in those two games for me. The last one, and it's the last, they've probably saved the best till last in this, St Kilda v Collingwood. I want to touch on Collingwood. This is a team that does take the game forward, but they're exposed a little bit by the Brisbane Lions. I want to highlight one clip of where Collingwood have to get their balance right. So they win the ball there. There's Adams, there's Dacos and there's De Goey. All of them are just off to the races, so they're off. So you want to be pretty clean with your disposal, because if you're not, ball goes over the top. Dacos is already out of the contest, so he's gone. So his opponent is going to be back behind the footy. So then we let this one play out. Where's Taylor Adams going? He's not looking to help in a 1v3. He's just looking to push forward as well. So then there's another one out of the play. Still side bottom. He's calling for the footy. He's out of it as well. So watch when it's one back. Out. He's out, and then Lachie Neale has a shot for goal. So that's where I reckon, as well as Collingwood are going, they're so aggressive, they have to get that balance right. Well,
I'm taking that, Lloydie, and what Brisbane did well, and I'm going to go to St Kilda and be their forward scout. I want immense pressure around the ball like we just saw Brisbane do to Collingwood, because any time you can keep forcing the little handballs back and keep the next number in, coming forward is what coaches say. Keep coming forward at Collingwood this week. We look at this pressure from St Kilda. Everyone joins in then on attack. If you just keep coming forward, you do that against Collingwood. You showed that one, Collingwood v Brisbane. The Saints just keep coming forward into Collingwood's grill. They'll get plenty of opportunities to score on the rebound.
Oh, you're spot on. I think Ross Lyon will thrive. Can they stop Collingwood for the full 4 quarters? I'm not so sure if they can, but I just think it's going to be magnificent to see. Callum Wilkie, well, I think he's like the Tom Stewart of 2023. How do you stop him? Do you need to maybe put a defensive forward on him? So here's him on Holman. I reckon you've got to start hitting up on his man, because he's so good in the air with his intercepts. So took Miller in the end. He just blazes, doesn't hit up, and Wilkie just is reading the play as well as a forward. This one, Ainsworth, everyone will say what a poor kick it is, but that ball can only go in one direction. And Callum Wilkie reads it better than King. So he's playing like a forward in a sense where he goes, I know where it's going. Kingy led to the wrong spot, so Wilkie marks the footy. And then the last one's Jim. He is whacking forwards under the ball and throwing out their timing time and time again.
And you have a look at all his starting positions. The kicker was rolling out. He's already on the right side of his direct opponent, or as you said, moving him to the space that he wants him to, which allows him to go for these great intercept marks.
Heard Ross Lyon tonight saying that there's no guarantee Tim Membry comes in because the incumbents are doing so well, and that's Machito Owens. He had 27 disposals and kicked 2 goals too, Jim. And just the smarts of whacking Ballard under the footy. Then the next one, he loses him at a stoppage. He can do everything.
Yeah, he gets a really good matchup, and we've seen him fly overhead. So if you put a small on him for his agility, he gets you overhead, but also he can move around. He's got some serious craft inside forward 50. Knows how to play as the higher forward, but as we've seen here, he can go and play deep as well. A very difficult matchup for the opposition.
I'm going to go Collingwood in a tight one, Jim.
Yeah, I think Collingwood by under 10 points. So it's going to be an absolute belter over there.
Magnificent.